Hi there, this is Diecast channel, and in this video I'm going to show something different. As you can see, I've got a plastic case with some 1 to 64 models. And these models I'm going to show today tell a little about the way my collection started many years ago. So stay with me to the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe in case you haven't subscribed yet, and give me a thumbs up and click bell for news. So let's open some of my cases and see a little bit about the story of my collection. That's it. These cars are some of the witnesses of how my craziness, my collection madness started many years ago when I was 12 years old. That was around 1984, 1985. And I had some cars at that time. That's the case of that Opel, the blue Opel Rekord, a German car, this Passat station wagon, and the Ford Thunderbird. But the other cars were all bought after I was an adult from old collections. They are all from different owners. And these cars are all very interesting. I had this Ford Transit when I was a kid, just like the BMW, the Cougar, and the Lincoln. But I've never had that Dodge Challenger. And I got to know the Dodge Challenger at the time I became a collector because I saw at a cousin's place and that car seemed very interesting. It reminded me of the 1968 and 1969 Camaro. And I remember I saw some two Camaros very close to my house, and they looked kind of familiar with all this design. But when I looked at the Dodge Challenger, I saw it was a Dodge, and I was very interested about the car. And I started reading I started going through magazines and books and finding some more information on the cars. So now we're going to see every one of them one by one, and I'll tell a little about their story. First model that drew my attention was this Ford Transit, and this was a very interesting model since I like those trucks a lot. And I like common cars, really. I don't like supercars. I don't like Formula One cars, Formula Indy cars. And these common cars, these daily drivers, are the most interesting for me. Especially because they were cars I used to see when I was a kid, either on the street or in the movies. This car was more common in movies, especially European movies. What drew my attention about this car is the steering wheel on the right side instead of on the left, since this is an English car. And the bed that's open on the left side, so you can unload this crate from the back of it with a forklift. And it has a sort of a pallet underneath. It's a very nice car. I was a little bit frustrated at the first time because I got a matchbox that came and the exact box of that car, but the model was different, was a military vehicle. I really think it was horrible, and I was very frustrated because I really wanted that truck very badly. But a few months later, I got one as a gift, and then I was happy. I played it with that a lot, and it really doesn't exist anymore. And this one I've got almost brand new from an old collection a few years ago. But many years ago, I got in an import store another one with its original carton box. I'm going to show some different video. The second one was a BMW. This car, I don't remember exactly having this car when I was a kid, but I remember a friend of mine at school had this car, and it was very interesting because it had a green glass and those tinted windows looked very nice in the car, and the orange color was very typical of the 1970s. This is a very interesting car. It's not the most detailed one since Matchbox was mainly a toy car instead of being a collectible. They became collectible as they became older and more difficult to find. This car is in an excellent shape, and it was probably from the same collection of that Ford Transit I've just shown. The next one is a Cougar Villager. That's my favorite car and my favorite Matchbox cars of all times. I've got one of these, but a blue one, when I was a kid, and I played it over and over and over and over and over until it fell apart. But I still have it. It was refurbished for about three or four times, and it's going to be refurbished again. But then it's going to be customized to be more original looking and to resemble more the original car and be more like a model car, a collectible model car instead of an old toy. But this one I'm going to keep it original, just the way it is. Maybe I'll do some painting here on the wheels with the chrome pen. But this car is really awesome. I like it a lot. Next model is this Lincoln Mark III, probably from 1974. This is a very special car to me. I had one just like that one when I was a kid, but it was so played and so used that it was completely destroyed. I just have nothing left of it. And this one I got from another collection, an old collection. And this car is really very nice looking and very attractive. I really like those Lincolns in those lines. I wish I had this car in a 1/18 scale anyway. And Lincolns, just like Ford Galaxies and Cadillacs, have always been my favorite cars of all times. This Dodge Challenger I got a few years ago from an old collection, so it's got some wear and tear from the time. Of course, it's an old car. It's from a 1973 Dodge Challenger, and I found out about this car because I got an old issue of Motor Trend's New Cars for '73 at a used bookstore, and with that magazine I saw some information on the car, some pictures. I saw the 1972 and 1973. I noticed the bumper guards were present in the 1973 but not in 1972, since 1973 had more reinforced bumpers, and this front looked very familiar. When I got the other magazine from about new cars for 1972, I saw the 1971 Dodge Challenger had nothing to do with this front here. The grill is completely different. After I started collecting Green Light, Johnny Lightning, and Auto World, I noticed how poor this car was concerning to reproduction, a real miniature and reproduction of a car in scale. But I'll keep it the way it is for its story and for how interesting it is. And it's a very unique piece. This 1957 Ford T-Bird I got with some money I got from my parents at the time. I was just a kid. And this is made by Corgi, which is an English company. And this car was very interesting because it was a typical 1950s convertible, but it was only for 2 or 3 passengers with only one row of seats. That was sort of unique for me at the time. And I got this car in white with chrome wheels but black front and rear bumpers. And the lines of the car were very interesting. And I finally got some magazines, and one of them had the story of the Ford Thunderbird, and then I found out this was a 1957 model. And a few years later, I took it apart completely. I've stripped the paint that was completely chipped and damaged, and I've painted it in metallic green and did all details with the chrome paint. And I really like the result, really. Although there are some few things to work on this car, especially the wheels and some more trims and headlights and taillights. I've got this Volvo from a schoolmate in the 80s. He had this car sitting around at his home. It was completely busted. This car's got the original wheels. The original paint was a color just almost like this one, but it had no painting on the roof, no painting on the hood, and the rest of the painting, the remaining paint, was completely chipped. The car was also a little bent here in the rear and had no trunk lid. And the front bumper was about gone, was completely broken. So I made this front bumper with aluminum, as well as the trunk lid that I made from aluminum as well. It's not opening, it's fixed in place, but it was the best I could do at the time. I've done this restoration about 15 years ago, and I did this painting with the same paint I used for the 4T Bird. By the way, I've done both cars at around the same time when I had less resources and less knowledge about restoring die-cast cars. Anyway, I'm still happy about the way it turned out. The windows were completely stained with paint from all attempts I had to recover this car, and they were sort of frustrated. So I just sand it down completely, and I used some water-based clear so it could sort of recover its old shine from the time. I was I'm really happy about the way it turned out, although I need some new wheels for it. This Volkswagen Passat station wagon, a Volkswagen Dasher, whatever, I got at an import store at the time, and this car is very interesting. I've always wanted to have it when I was a kid. I really like those station wagons, American, Europeans, whatever. And one thing that's very interesting for me about this car is those tinted windows with this brown color. This car I've played a lot with, but still preserves the original paint, the original windows, original wheels, and it's going to be left just the way it is. Although it's got some oxidation, some light corrosion, I think it's in a very good shape. This car is about 30 years old. This is an Opel Rekord, which is a German car. I've shown one that's an Opel Commodore in a 1:18 scale in one of my videos. But this car for me is very interesting. I really like this line, this fastback line, because of a car I knew when I was a kid. That's a Chevrolet Opala. That was a Brazilian car that was based on this car. And this car really drove my attention when I was a kid, and I got one for Christmas back in 1981, or 1980 or 1981. And I've played with that over and over until it just fell apart completely, and I don't have anything else left of it. Then a little bit later, when I got that station wagon, that Volkswagen station wagon, I got this car along with that. So I've played a lot with that when I was a little bit younger, but still in very nice shape, very nice color, original paint, original wheels, original seats, and the seats in this car tilt, which is very interesting. Besides, the doors are opening. I'm not going to go through all details on those cars in this video because my focus here is still a little bit more about the story of my collection. I'm going to go through some more details on this car in another video, including another one I have that's completely new in its original package, and two more I have that I'm restoring. One is a metallic blue just like this one, and the other one is a white one. In this video I'm not going to give any grade to these cars, but anyway, they are very special to me. They sort of started my collection. They were the start point, and they're very special for the historical value they have. They're not exactly collectible die-cast replicas, rather they're old toys, but some of them have very good detail. So I'd like to thank you for all likes and views, for all subscriptions. Please don't forget to subscribe in case you have not subscribed yet, and don't forget to give me your thumbs up, to leave your comments below, and click the bell for news. And also let me know what you think about the video and about the cars. And let me know if you don't know any one of these cars, or if you hadn't when you were a kid. And in case you have these cars in your collection, also share with us this information. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.